in terms of today's session, where I'm going to be helping you explore two very, very powerful creative problem-solving techniques. These are techniques that are often used by consultants all over the world. I have used these in my past career as a chief marketing officer, as my own company startup founder. I'm the founder of my own company. That's what I'm trying to say. I also used this when I was working in agencies. I've used them when I was consulting for startups. Any sort of a problem that you have today, like in the next 52 minutes or so, you will learn two very, very powerful procedural techniques that you can use to make sure that you can solve any problem whatsoever. All right, so I'm going to be talking about two techniques, okay? The first one is the lotus blossom technique. So the lotus blossom technique is a pretty awesome and fun technique. And the cool thing about this is that it popped up in Japan, right? So Japan's the land of anime. It's a place where people eat octopuses, and they have fantastic scenery, as well as, you know, they have a very rich and evocative history as well. And and of course, they are also the source of many, many, many of the ideas that we use today when it comes to creativity and innovation. And one such technique is called the lotus blossom technique. The key idea behind this technique, and I'll be showing and I'll be demonstrating it to you, and I'll be inviting you to participate in this as well, is that just like a lotus opens, we'll start with one central idea, and then the petals will open, right? So you have the first layer of petals, and then those will open up even more. And like a lotus in full bloom, you can explore any problem that you have and come up with roughly 55 to 60 different ways you can approach that problem. I kid you not, 55 to 60 different ways of approaching that problem. All right, now to start cooking with gas, I'm going to be asking you a very interesting question. It's interesting for me because I'm pretty sure it's going to be interesting for you. In the chat box, I have typed in one question. How can I get more visibility at work? Okay. And this is the lotus blossom technique, right? So I'm going to be starting with a central 3x3 grid. And in the middle of that, I'm going to be putting down the question, okay? How can I get more visibility at work? Right now, we have probably about 20, maybe 15 unique different answers for how we can get more visibility at work. But now we're going to be approaching this in a slightly different way. What I'm going to be asking you to type in chat, I'm just going to put out a bunch of, I've just drawn a line in the chat box, okay? So now I want you to write in, what are the parameters you can tweak to get more visibility at work? I'll give you an example, okay? Now, just based on this, I'm going to say something about work that I'm doing, right? So that's one angle or one parameter that I can tweak, right? Another thing could be, I think somebody had mentioned networking, right? So networking is another angle that I can tweak. So go ahead in the chat box, type out what are the different parameters, right? So who do I work with, right? So who do I work with is probably going to come under networking, right? So I'm going to be keeping that. I'll be using that again later, Sanjeev, so don't worry about that. Which department? Okay. Maybe we can even say presentation, right? And I don't mean like slides and stuff like that. It means like, how do I present myself, right? So I'm going to write that. How do I present myself, right? That's there. Yeah, so communication skills. Okay, so I'm adding communication skills. All right, so then we have, yeah, impact of work. That's probably going to come under the work that I'm doing. So, you know, that's there. All right, let's see problem solving. All right, that's interesting. Oh, I like that. You know what? I'm just going to, Pawan, I'm just going to merge what you said into what Argapan said, which is my approach to work, right? Who else? Creativity. All right, I like that. I like that. I'm going to add in creativity as well. We need two more, okay? Data-oriented ideas are probably going to come under creative as well, Sanjeev. But good try, good try. What else can I do? Networking is there. How do I present myself? Communication skills. You know what? Because we've already done a session on this, I'm going to say personal branding. Oh, I like what Swaminathan shared. Self-analysis. right? So, okay, market needs. All right, great, great. Thank you, HP, because I don't know your full name. I'm going to call you Harry Potter. Thank you, Harry Potter. Okay, so what I've done is taken this core idea, which is how can I get more visibility at work? And then figured out what are the different categories or different parameters that I can tweak or I can modify to get an increase in this. What I mean by that is if I make some change to any of these elements that are there, that is going to result in a benefit for me. That is going to result in an increase in visibility. Okay. But we're not stopping here now. Okay. So this is just the first step. Remember how I said we'll have the core and then we will expand that into like layer of petals. This central box becomes that first layer of petals. Now we're going to expand this. So how are we going to do that? I'm going to copy this, then I'm going to paste it. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to be pasting it. Same thing. Okay. I'm going to copy this. So you see what I'm doing? I've taken that central idea. We've expanded on that with different ideas. And now we've moved them into their own 3x3 grid. So now what I'm going to do is, because I have a little bit of an OCD, I'm going to make sure everything's center aligned and middle aligned. Then I'm going to pick one of these boxes and answer. Okay. Like if I have to do, I'm going to pick personal branding. Okay. I'm going to say, how can I use personal branding to get more visibility at work? Okay. That's the question now. I'm just going to type it out in chat, right? So, I can put it on screen, right? So how can I use personal branding to get more visibility at work? That's the question. As you can see, it's a very, very simple technique. It's a very simple procedure. You start with a core question, you identify different parameters, and then you change that question so that it matches. Okay, so I'm going to start with Sanjeev because I like his idea. Dressing sense. I'm very, very happy when COVID happened because we all had to work from home and I've never given up my lungi. So thankfully, Sanjeev, we rarely have to meet in person. Thank you for that. But yes, dressing sense really, really helps. HP said, always be receptive to others, right? So be receptive to others. I'm going to expand that a little bit, HP, to other people's ideas, thoughts, and ideas. Okay, I've added that. My contacts, I don't understand what that means, Archana. I'm going to request you to rewrite it. Okay, so Pavan says, showcase unique ideas. Showcase unique ideas. I like that. Okay. Establish yourself as an expert. Oh, I like that, Karan. Establish myself as an expert. Thank you for that, Karan. Something with some attitude. Okay. HP, I need you to expand that, please. Following the ethics. Okay. Being ethical or having a code of, actually, I'm going to expand that a little bit, Pradesh, having a personal code of conduct, like the Japanese warriors, samurai warriors, they used to have something called Bushido. In fact, it has been outlined in a book called The Book of Five Rings by Miyamoto Musashi. It's about how a samurai warrior should behave, right? So that's something. Okay. Better presentation skills. Okay. Better presentation skills. Okie dokie. Sanjeev is always working in shorts. Awesome. How you talk / tone of voice. Ishan, I'm going to expand that a little bit to say vocal skills. Okay. Actually, you know what? No. How you talk / tone of voice. I'll explain why I didn't choose that, because if I was saying vocal skills, that might be a part of communication skills as well. Being unique in ideas, learning new skills. Yeah. So that's there. Be a good listener, be reliable, sharing content, skills showcase. Now, you see, this is just going on and on and on and on, right? Oh, I like this one. Good stakeholder management. Thank you for that, HP. Right? So that's also good stakeholder. All right. So you see how how long has it been since we started? 8. So 13 minutes. Okay. In just 13 minutes, and of which like half of that I was prattling on, we've got already 8 different ideas on how to get more visibility at work. Okay. You see how super duper simple it was? We took one central idea. We figured out 8 different angles that we can approach on, solving that problem. And then that formed the first layer of petals. And then boom, we have expanded that into a second layer of petals. But because I am super lazy and I want you all to have fun as well, I am pasting the link to, let me change that to editor. Done. I have pasted the link, okay? So you all, whoever wants to, if you are on a computer, you can click on that link and join me in this worksheet. And we can actually fill out this thing together. All right, so we have a bunch of different people. Please don't overwrite other people's answers. That reminds me. Please don't do that, but feel free. Now, let's say if you were to fill up this box where anonymous aurochs is a kind of an elephant, by the way, ancient elephant. You would say, how can I use communication skills to get more visibility at work? How can I use networking to get more visibility at work? How can I change, how can I tweak the work that I'm doing to get more visibility at work? How can I change my approach to work to get more visibility at work? How can I use creativity to get more visibility at work? How can I use self-analysis to get more visibility at work? Market needs to get more visibility at work. You see that? That's all you got to do. It's as simple as that. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be seeing this as well. So please go ahead, start typing in your answers. Let's see what comes up. By the way, this is just the first step of the process, okay? Because this is to generate a whole bunch of different ideas, right? Later, what's going to happen? We're going to figure out how do we sort out these ideas and then use them to come up with it. So please feel free. I am going to start off a timer. Okay, so I have a nice little kitchen timer here. You should be able to see this on screen. It's got like about 10 minutes. Okay, good luck. I will try to provide commentary and answer questions that you have so far in chat. So please bring it on. All right. So someone for networking said work in coordination with different departments. Yeah, that's a good one. So you get visibility across different things. All right, Suman's got offer solution for some hard work or problem regarding. Suman, I need a little bit more context for that, please. I don't know which one you're talking about. Ishan, if you want to write something in networking, please feel free. Okay, you want to say listening to what others have to say. All right, so I'm going to add that in for you. Listen to what others have to say. Awesome, thank you. If you have ideas, just give me the category and the thought, and I will add it in case if you're not able to add it in yourself. What do we have here? Ready to see other problems as your own problem and own them to provide a solution. Okay, all right, that's there. There's a fantastic book by Keith Ferrazzi called Never Eat Alone, right? So if you never eat alone, you have a great way to actually look at that. All right, someone's got that. All right, Swaminathan says under approach to work. Approach to work, okay. Break down the work into bite-sized. I'm hungry, so I'm going to say bite-sized pieces. But yes, Swaminathan, thank you for that. Okay, work in coordination with different, listen to what others have to say. Be a good listener and observer in terms of communication skills. Yes, I'm also going to add public speaking skills. By the way, if there was one skill that has really, really, really helped me in my career, it is public speaking skills. I used to be a part of something called Toastmasters, where I learned how to practice both impromptu speaking as well as prepared speeches. and how to give feedback and evaluations. Those skills, which I picked up from Toastmasters, have been this wonderful multiplier for pretty much everything else that I have done. And as Rajiv Rustam says, good evening to all. All right. Ooh, I like this one. Someone's added communication skills. I should know how to say no without offending others. Okay. All right. Under self-analysis. Oh, there's some good stuff going here. Organize your day and task to give more clarity. Yeah, that makes sense. Be consistent learner after working hours. So that can be pretty hard, right? To like be a consistent learner after working hours. I'm just going to respond to that once I add Swaminathan's thing again. Under networking, stay in touch. Oops, what did I do? I'm going to copy under networking. Okay, I've added that. Stay in touch with the expert, right? So to be a consistent learner, one thing that I found is quite useful is listening to podcasts. If you have a commute to and down work, that can be pretty useful as well. There's also this thing called Blinkist, which will give you summaries of books. And if you have Audible, you can find complete audiobooks that you can listen to there. And if you go on YouTube as well, you can find some audiobooks that you can listen to as well. Please don't do piracy. You can get these books for like really, really cheap. So go for that. Hard work, Suman saying, simplifying processes, staff productivity, increased. All right, Suman, you got to tell me where I have to add this, mate. So that's what I'm asking. All right, for creativity, doing something different from others. Don't follow the herd. Yeah, bringing in new ideas. You know, literally tomorrow in the office, you can do this thing you're learning. Remember, you've invested your time and effort to come to Hero Wired, and you know you're giving your attention. And in exchange, you're getting this awesome technique that you can literally use in the office tomorrow. And you can get more visibility at work. Like, how cool is that? By the way, I used to do all this kind of stuff, right? When I was when I had to get like visibility. So that's there. All right, always be ready to try and perform new things. All right, so Ishan saying under self-analysis. All right, go on. Tell me what you want to add, Ishan. Okay, discover quality and versatility. Okay, fair enough. Compare yourself to the goal and not to others. Be a consistent learner. Work on feedback for others. Prepare for the task before giving final attempt at the workplace. Fair enough. Your market needs. What do we have? Get skilled as per market needs. See what is required, not what is easy to do. Oh, whoever wrote that, that is some solid advice. All right, keep oneself abreast of latest market developments. Yes, and you know that's closely tied, but fair enough. Be aware of ongoing demand of population. Okay. And I just realized I want to add one more thing. Be aware of inherent bias. What I mean by that is all this time, okay, for some reason, probably because most of the people I know work in IT, I thought that, hey, everybody's in IT, right? And that's a stupid thing for me to think because that is my inherent bias. I'm in Bangalore, everybody's in IT, but no, that's a stupid thing, right? That's a bias. But if I'm aware of my bias, I can work around it, right? So that's there. Under self-analysis, accept and work on our mistakes. Okay, definitely. Thank you for that, Ishan. That's wonderful. Okay, so where are we at? Okay, work that I'm doing doesn't seem to have much answers, but personal branding's done. That's good. Let's see. Okay, self-analysis. We had a very, very philosophical lot, aren't we? 36 of us, and the only thing that's filled up is self-analysis. Possibly because we are very, very hard on ourselves. You don't have to be. Remember to be your number one fan because nobody else is going to do that for you. And if at any time, okay, you're feeling very, very miserable, check out, how do I add this to? There's one thing that's going to be like super duper valuable. Oops. Let's look at what are the other answers that have popped up. Work I'm doing. What quantitative and qualitative impact? Thank you for sharing that, Karan. All right, so work I'm doing. Okay, what is this? Okay, I'm going to say, okay, here's a secret trick, okay? Who is this? Oh, Who will look like a hero because of this? This is an important question, right? When it comes to work that I'm doing, you can say, oh, is it going to make me look good? Is it going to make my boss look good? Is it going to make somebody else look good? If you make somebody else look good, you know, and my timer just rang, that's going to be a good way for you to get some more visibility as well. All right. So now I'm just going to blitz through and fill in a couple of these as well. Okay. I'm going to start with communication skills. What are the things that we can do, right? So I'm going to say, learn cold reading, for example, right? Learn how to interpret verbal and non-verbal communication, okay? Another one is learn how behavioral psychology works. All right, so I just filled up communication skills with some ideas. And when it comes to market needs, get skilled as per the market. And then I'm going to say, do the job, be good enough for the job I want, not the one I have, right? So that's another way. Yeah, foresee the demand. I like that. Thank you for that, Swaminathan. Foresee the demand. Okay, so we got that. Now let's look at creativity. Bring new ideas, search for blue ocean, explore the unexplored. Always ready to try and perform new things, just good quality. Listen to your gut feeling, doing everything. How about this? Learn some I'm not going to say awesome, but learn creativity techniques, all right? Learn how to use AI to get more leverage. Oh, yes, I read up in the book, Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. System 1 thinking, system 2 thinking, it is mind-blowing. It is absolutely mind-blowing, right? Design thinking is different than thinking fast and slow, but design thinking also beautifully taps into behavioral psychology. Thank you for bringing those two up. Absolute kick-ass books. It's really, really good. Okay, let's look at approach to work. How can I use approach to work to get more visibility, right? Develop a remarkable work ethic. Yeah, I'm just going to type that out. Shruti, thinking fast and slow. And I forgot the name of the other book. Oh, the other one was design thinking, right? So if you want to learn about design thinking, check out Sprint by Jake now. It's a great book. It also has, at the end of that book, it has like a 7-day sprint that you can run. Use past performance as a guide. I like that, right? Oh, adopt an agile approach. Okay. Okay, that's just one idea. Okay, but that's okay because right now we're just in a brainstorming phase. Okay, we don't need to say this is right or this is wrong. One thing I want to say is adopt an experimentation approach. What I mean by that is sometimes you want to try things and see what works and what doesn't. Okay, the work that I'm doing, how can I get more visibility? Who look like a hero because of this? What are the metrics that will change? So yeah, what are the quantitative, right? So that's there. What else can I say? Do high visibility work, right? So I can say start and lead visible. Oh, I don't know who wrote that. Turn nervous energy into excitement. You are spot on. And lead visible projects, right? So I want to add that as well. Come on, come on. We need one more just because of my OCD. Yeah, work that I'm doing. See how you can communicate your progress in measurable terms, right? So that's another thing that you can do. All right, thank you. Right, so we took some time and what we did was we started with one question, which formed like the heart of that lotus. We expanded that with a single row of petals, which gave us 8 different options. Then we moved each of those petals into a box of their own, and then we repeated that process by changing the question we were asking. Instead of just asking, how can I get more visibility at work? It was, how can I use personal branding to get more visibility at work? instead of just looking at work that I'm doing. It's like, how can I change the work that I'm doing or change my approach to the work that I'm doing? That's this one, to get more visibility at work. And by doing this, we ended up with 8 into 8, 64 different options. Okay, 64 different ideas to answer this question: how can I get more visibility at work? Now, this time, I want to point out that not all of these ideas are good. Some of them are absolute cow dung. That's okay, because this was just the brainstorming process. It's just step one of the other, of the whole process. Because what happens next is, now that you have all of these ideas, you will then validate. Okay. First was we generated those ideas, and then now we're going to validate. We're going to put on like our sense of reason, right? We're going to say, is this actually feasible? Is this something that I want to do? Is this something that can actually solve the central problem that we're trying to solve? And then we would rank them. There are many different ways to rank them. You can choose what is the parameter that you want to use to rank. Now, if you have to run this at work, right, just follow the same thing. Start with this 3x3 grid, put that question in the middle, ask for different parameters, and then move these parameters into their own grids, and then say, oh, okay, now let's look at, how can we handle this? A couple of things you got to know. There will be sometimes, for example, let's say with communication skills, there will be more than 8 ideas that you want to answer. That's okay. Just keep on adding them to the site. This is where, not doing this on a Google Sheet, but let's say on a platform like Miro might make a lot more sense, right? This might be the time when you would probably want to run it with Post-its if you are meeting others in person. Conference rooms and Post-its go really, really well together. And just that, like in literally about 15 minutes or so, you just generated 64 different ideas that you can use to solve this problem. Then you would take these inputs, prioritize them, and then pick the ones that you want to work with. Any questions on this? If not, I shall move on to the next question, the next idea. If you have no questions, just drop me a smiley, please. That would be very, very nice. Okay. All righty. We got 2 smiley faces. Rest of you, if you feel like dropping the smiley in like chat or something, I can't see this. Yes, Swaminathan. You can change the question in the center. You can even do this by yourself. In fact, to grow my own business, I've asked myself the question, how can I get more referrals from my business, right? So that was a question I've asked. Let me see if I can dig out another one. Where was that? I'd recently done, was it this? Yeah. So I did this for, hey, how can I get more customers, right? I can do the same thing for get more referrals as well. I hope you guys can see my screen, right? So you can just change the question and see, like for getting more customers, I started with email list, freebies, collaborations, blah, 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 blah. Then moved them collaborations into this. And then I came up with like different ways to, okay, I can try all of these different tactics to get myself more customers. Pretty straightforward, and it's a lot of fun. So SWOT, Swaminathan, is a technique where you look at a situation or an opportunity, and then you see, or usually you look at a situation or something, or an entity, and then you say, what are the strengths, the weaknesses, opportunities, and threats if you pursue down this path? This is a pure brainstorming technique to start with. And then the second stage, the first stage is to generate like a ton of ideas by forcing your brain to work with specific constraints. Here, the constraints are the parameters that you have chosen. Okay? Now, by forcing your brain to work with those, you are able to generate more and more ideas. It's like, so it's like when you have the water pipe and then you press down the edge a little bit and the water comes out faster. That's what's happening, right? So forces out more and more ideas. Argapin, good question. 2 or 3 boxes will overlap. So consider them as one and carrying on. Absolutely, right? So for example, communication skills, right? Public speaking skills and presentation skills. They are very, very closely linked, okay? But you can put them off as your own, or you can segregate them. Now, what you want to do though is, at least for the core 8 petals, you want to have distinct and unique ideas. Okay, that's going to really help you come up with more and more diverse options. And listen, is right now it's just like what, about 35 of us hanging out on a lovely little video call on a Monday evening, and we're brainstorming this, right? So we are all very different people. We're coming in from different backgrounds, but if you're at work and you get in different stakeholders on this, then suddenly what happens is that you get to tap into all of that expert knowledge that is already there in other people's heads, right? Somebody said that, right? So stay in touch with the expert, right? And you can really tap into that, and you can be the person who can get a result. Oh, I just want to add one more here. Learn facilitation. Okay. So great. OCD sorted. We have different techniques. Okay. We're going to move on to the next technique, which is called scamper. Right? Scamper is an initialism, means that SCAMPER refers to substitute, combine, adapt, modify, put to another use, eliminate, or reverse. Okay? That's what scamper stands for. Now, this is a very straightforward technique that you can use to think about the situation. Okay? I'm going to once again demonstrate this using the same idea. The common thing that both the lotus blossom and the scamper technique have is that it is focused on giving you some sort of a constraint to think things through. So what we do is we start with a question or a problem that we want to solve, right? Which is, how can I get more visibility at work? The same question that we had for the lotus blossom technique, except now you're going to see, what is it that I can substitute to get more visibility at work? What can I combine to get more visibility at work? What can I adapt? What can I modify? What can I put to another use, eliminate, or reverse, right? So I'm just going to cut and then paste special, transposed. So we have all of this. Right? So I'm just going to move this off to the side. So then now the question becomes, because of scamper, right? Like a mouse, you can use SCAMPER to come up with like a bunch of different ideas on what is it that we can combine, substitute, combine, adapt, modify, put to another use, eliminate, or reverse, right? So I'm going to start and give you an example to help us all get started with this, okay? So now I have this. I'm going to say, okay, put to another use. I'm going to say lunch becomes, or, lunch becomes a networking meal, right? So I will have lunch with somebody else every day. So instead of saying networking meal, I'm going to say opportunity, right? So that's one option. Eliminate. What could I substitute? Combine. All right. So I want you all also to start thinking and plugging in your answers. How can you use? What can you substitute? What can you combine, adapt, modify, put to another use, or eliminate to get more visibility at work, right? Eliminate. Stop doing low visibility tasks. Another thing that you could possibly reverse is instead of being the person who attends the meeting, be the person who runs the meeting. Right. So this is again coming back to facilitation, right? So that's there. We have someone as a substitute, create a system. Yeah. Automate, systematize your work to get more time for yourself. So here, what you're substituting is yourself, but with systems. It could be combined, right? So again, lunch could be that. Use technology wherever possible. Yeah. So how does that work? Under adapt, yeah. Cross-pollinate ideas from one field into another, right? So that's a great one. Modify. Yeah, well, how could we modify this? I'm going to say I'm not saying that you guys do this, but I have done this. So attend events, not for food, but to do live commentary, right? So like if you have like a tech conference or something, then you can join to do that. That's an option, right? So that's there. Archana says use technology wherever possible. So Archana, that is a very broad thing. So how can we, like dive in? So I'm gonna, no, not like a sponsor, as a delegate itself, right? You can say like, hey, I am at this super duper awesome event hosted by, like right now, this webinar. You are here to learn about these problem solving techniques, but there is literally nothing stopping you from, let's say, live tweeting this or posting on LinkedIn saying that, hey, it is now 7:49 p.m. and I've just learned about the scamper technique. It's a great way for me to come up with new ideas to solve any sort of a problem. Right? So then you can start tweeting or talking about this as well. Modify communication approach to reach. Oh yeah, modify. Be more proactive in outreach. I'm just going to simplify that, HP. But remember, modify is also magnify and minify. Magnify means what can you make much, much bigger? What can you make much, much smaller? If I'm saying smaller, reduce the time you take to respond to emails. Or the other hand, respond to emails only once a day, right? So that's another one. Or maybe send async video chats instead of emails, right? So that's an option as well. If we had to, let's say, substitute, what else can I substitute if I want to get more visibility at work? I can look at, come on, folks, help me out. Break down large groups into smaller ones. Okay, which one is that for, Arsenal? Wait, you mentioned that something earlier, right? Use technology wherever possible. Minify. Okay, so it's coming back to this, all right? Oh, it was for modify? Yeah, that's what it was. Use tech to speed up work. Thank you for that. Delegation of work. Substitute. Oh, yes, that's fantastic. Fantastic, Swaminathan. Delegation of work. So instead of you doing it, you can delegate it to somebody else, right? And you can pick and choose what you want to do. Okay, so let's see, what else can we do for substitute? Do you guys see how simple it is now that you have some questions, right? You can look at, oh, okay, if I want to do this, then this is what I can combine. Combine group, whatever, like meetings with public speaking practice, right? So that's an option. Ignore the path hinder, substitute. Yeah, you can outsource. I like that. Yeah, outsourcing is also a great way to delegate work, right? So that's something you can do. For adapt, you can say, what else can we do for adapt when it comes to get more visibility at work? Combine, join with peer groups. I like that. Yeah, join with peer groups. Adapt, you can say agile methods in non-agile solutions, not solutions, sorry, situations. Right. So obviously you can adopt AI. So yeah, you can use AI over here. You can put that to another use as well. All right. So what I want to say, I like this. I like this. Combine short walks. I'm just going to slightly tweak that with team meetings, right? So that's definitely something that I've seen in like Hollywood TV shows and whatnot. All right, but obviously you all get the drift, right? Now you might see that, hey, some of the techniques, for example, what we had with Lotus Blossom technique, ideas seem to come a little bit more easily compared to using Scamper, right? Where we had to struggle and come up with more and more ideas. There are different reasons for this. In some cases, it could be that Scamper as such is fantastic for you to look at an existing process and see how you can make it better. For example, if I was to deliver a workshop, I can say, oh, how can I make my workshops even more interesting and memorable. Then if I was to apply this, then I would get like a lot more ideas, right? So whereas Lotus Blossom is a lot more open-ended blue ocean style technique for brainstorming, Scamper is often used for tweaking or fixing certain aspects in the process. That being said, you can deploy both for either situation as well, right? And that would still end up in giving you a whole bunch of different ideas. Any questions on this, folks, before I go to the summary and tell you, hey, this is what we discussed? I'm going to stop sharing as I figure out how. There we go. In the meanwhile, I will talk about different places where you can use these sort of creative problem-solving techniques to get yourself all sorts of like ridiculously insane results. I've often found that starting with myself and applying these as a part of a, well, I like to say daily, but I'm not remotely disciplined enough to do it daily, but some sort of a reflective practice where I think about, this is what went wrong today, and this is what I would like to fix, right? I personally, because I run my own business, I work in 2-week sprints. So I'll say like, okay, in these 2 weeks, these are the things that I want to get done. And then I will mark out all the tasks that I want to get done. And then at the end of it, yeah, I can share that, absolutely. And then at the end of it, I would review and say, okay, what is it that I can fix? What is it that I can tweak to go ahead and solve that? Now, I have used the Lotus Blossom more than once. As you can see, I showed it to you earlier as well, to come up with more and more ideas. Right. So to start off, look at different aspects of your own productivity, right? Because the whole idea is to use these sort of techniques that you have to get more stuff done in a shorter amount of time. So the first thing you want to do is try to find out as much of time, like save yourself as much time as possible, right? So you can literally like change this question to say, how can I make more time for myself at work? And then you could do this for yourself. And when you get that, you suddenly get like a lot more time. And once you have that time, then you can figure out where do you want to apply it. And for that, you want to pick out what are the goals that you want to work towards, and then you apply it there. So that's at a personal level. Okay, so start over there. Okay, because I want you to be selfish a little bit right now and focus on doing and getting the best ROI that you can from your efforts. Once you've taken care of the personal thing, then you go on to like a slightly larger group of people. It could be for family, it could be for friends, or it could be for work. At work, it's a good thing because it already shows that you are ready for management, but it also establishes like a certain insightfulness that people will come and rely on you for, right? So that's a very, very good thing. And one day when you become crazy enough, you can do these sort of things for fun, right? Like literally you can map this out as a mind map, and you can come up with like a whole bunch of different ways to solve problems. If you ever to get to such a level, check out the book Super Better, okay, which talks about how, or IDEO, right? IDEO is IDEO.com, IDEO.com. They have these sort of hackathons where you can apply these sort of techniques to solve real world problems, right? Like, for example, the Ugly Indian in Bangalore has applied different techniques like this to solve a bunch of cleanliness issues. There have been BBMP people, like the local municipal corporation sort of people, and the people who take care of Bangalore streets, they have applied technique like that. I know people there who have done stuff like this as well. So the impact at which, the scale at which you operate depends completely upon where you want to deploy it. Argapin's got a question which says, should the questions be too specific or should it be broad? Look, the whole point of the Lotus Blossom technique is to give you that sort of visibility, right? To start prompting your brain to start coming up with like a whole bunch of different ideas. And the more ideas you come up with, the better it is. If you are a clever little Chat GPT prompt engineer, you can very easily get Chat GPT to generate these for you, but don't. Okay, it's very important. I have to tell you this. don't do this. All right. At least not for the first pass. What I want you to do is do this for yourself, like use your own skills and your own understanding to come up with these answers, because there's a lot of context that comes in only from what you have, right? And that's not going to come from ChatGPT, right? So once you have these, you can feed it to ChatGPT and say, hey, this is what I have as options for how can I get more visibility at work. All right. Can you give me more ideas? Or you know what? Let's actually try that. Okay. So I'm just going to stop sharing it like this. And instead, I'm going to be sharing my entire screen. So don't panic. In the meanwhile, I am going to open up my, right. So I have, oops. Yeah, that's a bad thing. You know what I can do? I can go here directly. I can say new chat. Okay, I can figure out how to close this. Great, you should be able to see this. Are you all able to see my chat GPT? If you can, just drop in a smiley, please, so that I know. So what I'm doing is, all right, cool. All right, so I'm just looking at this. What was the question? How can I get more visibility at work? Okay. So I'm just saying I am trying to answer this question. I have generated these answers as a brainstorming exercise. Okay. And then I'm going to say, please clean this up and give it to me in a unique list. Then we're going to say my answers. And I am literally copying all of this. I've never tried this, folks, okay? I'm just trying this like in real time. And let's see, does ChatGPT understand? Okay, it seems to be. It's giving me a list of different ideas. We should hopefully be like 56 or something, because that's, no, it should be like 64. Okay, but no, it has fewer. Why could that be? It could be because I've asked for a unique list as well. So great, it has this. Now I'm going to say, thank you. You always want to be polite in case the AI becomes sentient and comes after you. And then you say, thank you. Can you please expand this list so that I have more ideas on, whoops, how to get more visibility at work. All right. It's going to give, oh, look at that. Mentorship. I think somebody mentioned this about cross-functional collaboration. That's nice. Okay. It's giving us more options, cultivating a positive attitude. Oh, I like this. Create an elevator pitch. Okay, it's giving me this. It's saying combine several strategies, but I don't like this as much as this. But let's say, you know what? Please collate all of these into a single list. All right, so now it's going to be giving me a consolidated list. All right, so but then the next thing that we want to do is now convert this into a table with the following columns, right? So I'm just taking the same thing that we did with the lotus blossom, but I'm processing a little bit more with the help of AI, right? So what are the columns? Is activity, potential increase. Yeah, I'm going to say potential increase in visibility, amount of effort required. But to make it easier, I'm going to say on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being max effort, right? So I'm just going to copy that, and I'm going to be putting it over here as well. Okay, let's see, 60 ideas. Here goes nothing. Okay, potential increase in, oh, I should have done this. 1 second, I'm just going to tweak this. Sort this in decreasing impact, decreasing impact in disability. All right, so hopefully it'll start with the biggest, this thing, and then it'll be, okay, look at that. So we started with the lotus blossom, right? And then we asked one question and then came up with 8. We expanded. Then we fed this into ChatGPT and we asked it to do the hard work. And looky look. Now, obviously, look, like ChatGPT has no clue about all of this, right? It's just some weird mathematical model that's making sense. But for us, it looks like magic. I don't even know if these numbers make sense, but this looks nice. It feels nice. And because I do not have enough expertise in saying that, hey, is this the right thing for every situation? I don't have that. But this gives me a nice little starting point to actually look at that. And then our subjective estimations, right? So that's what it gives that. Look at this, seek or provide mentorship, okay? It says the impact is going to be very low, but effort is also very low, right? Now, but if I'm mentoring someone who like becomes like a superstar or something, they'll be, oh, Arvind's the guy who trained that person, right? So it's there. I'm just sharing this because, hey, you know, it might help you have more fun. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this link as well, and I'm going to drop it into chat if you want to fool around with that as well. Okie dokie. With that, we have reached everything that I wanted to share about 2 creative problem-solving techniques. The Lotus Blossom technique, which is fantastic for open-ended exploration, and the Scamper technique, which is fantastic for tweaking a process and getting as much of ROI and optimization in it as possible. After that, we also looked at one potential way that we could use the power of ChatGPT to come up with new ideas to take what we've already done and give us a more solid head start when it comes to this.